Feedback in the session itself. I don't know is there anything additional we are looking at, Shweta, in terms of
basically when you are giving feedback to those two people, but the others don't receive it. So based on whatever you have experienced in the room, we would like to learn from all of that's going on, and whatever your perspective on what we could change, what we could do better, or how else we could coach with this competency of CC6.
Okay. I think one common thing which I observed in both the rooms that I observed was that the questions were long. It's not even question, the justification followed the question, right? So, which was just telling the session that concluded just now. There seems to be some sort of an insecurity in asking that question, or maybe I'm having some doubt about the question that I asked. Right. So if you are in that conversation, if you are listening well, whatever lands at that moment, we should go with that. So the question itself was longish because the question was followed by justification for a few sentences. So the coach was taking about 2 minutes to ask that question. A simple question like, what does it mean to you? Or what does its social media presence mean to you? That was sufficient in one of the examples, right? So then we went on explaining that. And that's one thing which I found as something common. And I think there was an opportunity to show empathy in one of the sessions that I observed again. I felt that, I don't know, should we pick names and speak? Is that fine? We don't, right?
It's up to you and Rekha, whatever you would like.
If you can manage without, it's better.
Okay, I'll do without. This person was speaking about medical condition, right? So the coach was supposed to also show that empathy on what the other person is sharing. That's a way of, that to me is also listening, right? So you listen to where they are sharing it from, what's that experience is about. So that's that I felt was an opportunity when it comes to listening. So not just about words, pick up the nuances. And if there are any discomfort that you are feeling in the client as they speak, observing that and then following it up, or asking forward that seeing discomfort. So what does it mean? Could also be able to build that trust, right? So I felt that in one of the conversations, I could observe that the client wasn't feeling very comfortable the way conversation was going on. Maybe as a coach, there was an opportunity to observe and then ask. I felt that was an opportunity. Maybe Rekha, you can also correct me in case that's not the way to ask. Is there a better way to ask? And that can also be explored. I think these are some of the things which came out.
Thanks, Jael. Very sharp. Proud of you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, naming an emotion is generally not a good idea because it may not be the emotion that they are experiencing. So you can say, what is it that you're observing? What was the emotion you called out just now?
I said about discomfort. I'm noticing a discomfort.
Right. Now, how do you know you're noticing a discomfort? What did you actually observe? You didn't observe discomfort. You observed something which you called discomfort. Correct?
Yeah. So I think the person was looking sideways, looking down, not looking at the coach.
Something like that, right? So you can call that out because if you were a fly on the wall, that's what you would see. A fly on the wall wouldn't know discomfort. Correct? So whatever you're observing factually, absolutely perfectly fine to call it out. Good, you should call it out because the client is not seeing what you're seeing. It's very simple. Right now, I'm looking at you. I have no idea what are the expressions on my face. correct? But you can see them. So you know, you share what you're noticing, but don't give it a name. Allow the client to name it. Yeah. That's all, because it could be anything. We don't know. Or was I doing that? I wonder why I was doing it. I was looking down, I was looking up. When do I do that normally? Okay, when I'm thinking, I do it. Maybe, I don't know. So it's always safe to only share what you're observing. And that's also risky, because the client might feel that, oh, that means you're spying on me or something. I don't know. We don't know how it will land. That depends on how well the trust and safety has been established. Okay. But in general, we have to take risks. It's a risky business, coaching. So we have to take risks. Take it. What I observed and the feedback that I gave in one of the rooms was, we become present and we are sharp in our listening when we are focused on the person and when we are not focused on their problem. So while the client will always be focused on their problem, because the client has come for a solution, the client, and this is what I shared over there, so I just want to repeat that. The client is actually not interested in maximizing their potential. They have no idea what that means also. It's very intellectual sounding. But a client knows ki, yes, I have a problem and this problem is bothering me a lot and I have tried to solve it on my own and I have not been able to solve it on my own. Now I'm reaching out to a coach. Hopefully I will get to see something different, which somehow I've not been able to see by myself. Correct? So what are they? They're only interested in that. So let them be focused on that. Let them talk about it. Let them wallow in it. Let them be in it. All of that. While they are there, you be on the person. And that is how we will notice the expressions, the emotions, the energy shifts, the totality of what their tone, their voice, their words, everything is conveying. Now, when we keep on asking, what does this mean to you? What does this mean to you? First of all, it can be extraordinarily irritating. If I was a client, I would be so irritated. What do you mean? I'll check the dictionary and tell you. What does this word mean? What does this word mean? You continuously asking me. So why are we asking that? Be clear why you're asking that. And then ask the reason for which you are asking that. Ask that instead. One. Second thing is, when we continuously ask what something means to them, we are only exploring their thoughts, which means we are only exploring their cognitive space. We are not exploring what they feel about it. We are not exploring how it impacts them. We are not exploring what meaning it has in their lives. We are not exploring what place it has in their lives. So you can ask that question in so many different ways, right? You don't have to ask, what does it mean for you? Why are we asking that? Be clear and then ask. So we are focusing on the client, and when we focus there, we can start listening and be present. Second thing is about, I completely agree with JL. Sometimes our empathy is so missing, you know. For instance, I was in the main room and I was listening. And while listening, I had started feeling breathless, saying, what is going on for this person and their life? They're so all over the place and wanting to be here also, there also, there also, there also. Stop. How are you feeling right now? Just telling me all this also. We have to learn to explore feelings and emotions. I think we need to go beyond just thoughts, because a deeper understanding of a client for themselves will be only through emotions, feelings, and deeper than that also. How are you going to take a client deeper? Only through thinking. Where does the thinking happen? The thinking is all happening in the brain. How deep can you go inside the brain? I mean, think about it like that, right? Next, when a client is grappling with a certain issue, suppose your client is grappling with an issue of making and keeping commitments. In such a scenario, asking a question, how committed will you be to take these actions? What does that indicate? I won't be, I have problem with commitment. Presence and listening are very deeply connected. So I can't set the two and comment, Shweta. Absolutely, right? You're not listening. You're connecting the dots.
Right.
You're not listening the entirety. Like I was reading out this, right? 6.5 says integrates the client's words, tone of voice, body language to determine the full meaning of what is being communicated. Full meaning, not the word meaning, full meaning, which means how they're feeling about it, what is it that they're not saying, what is it that they're not wanting to look at, what are they running away from, what are they not willing to confront, etc. etc. And so long as you are aware of that, you can gently explore that with your client. Okay, you will need not ask, what are you running away from? Please don't ask. Right? So my sum total of what I wanted to say about listening was, that is another thing which I was saying in the other room, that no matter how much you read and no matter how much you understand about different forms of listening, 4 levels of listening, etc., etc., if you're understanding it at an intellectual level, it won't make any difference. So don't understand it, get it. Also, it is not a matter of continuous practice will make it happen. No, it's about a shift in your way of being. It's not about what you're doing. It's not a skill that you're building, listening. It's about who you're being. So if I am present with my client with no agenda, not at all attached or involved in their situation, I don't care they are talking about XYZ things. It doesn't matter who is that person beneath that is doing all this talking. I will automatically listen at all levels. Now, interestingly, very interestingly, some time back, I had said this about, so it's all about a way of being. And guess what the question was that came after that? So what do I do about becoming that way? It's not about doing, right? You can't be by doing. You know what I mean? Or you can't do be. You just be. So there is some shift that has to happen inside your head about who you are, who's the client, what is your purpose. Yeah, exactly. How can we be? By being. And by believing, and by a fundamental level of understanding as to what is coaching. And who are you there as a coach and who's your client? So how you can be, Sanjay, is, now let me tell you the doing of being, okay? How you can be is always keep your focus on the client while they are focused on their problem. That's all. However interesting, seductive, exciting their problem might sound to you. However juicy their problem might sound to you. You have to sacrifice all of that excitement and juice and be focused on the client. Some problems sound very juicy, like, let me get my hands into it. I'll show you how to solve this problem, kind of a thing. But I cannot tell you how to solve this problem. I have been told not to tell. So I will now find devious ways of telling you, which nobody will catch that I'm telling you, but actually I'm telling you. I'll put it in the form of a question, subtly. But I'll tell you. I have to tell you. I can't not tell you. It's too interesting a problem. I have to tell you. Now, where is your focus? Your focus is completely on yourself. So can we look at ourselves as unimportant? And can we look at ourselves as nimitta matra only? I'm not the main person at all over here. No, it is difficult, okay? But that is where you have to reach. Because that is who you are. Otherwise, you be a consultant. Very simple. Consultants are very useful and valuable people, by the way. I have deep respect for them. But you're not doing consultancy here. So the way to be that is be focused on the client. Client, 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 client. So much you're leaning forward and looking into the screen, na? Why? Like that. You're getting bored, huh? Like that. But I'll not say you're getting bored, huh? I'll ask in a different way. I'll not call out don't call out the emotion. Ever. You have people like me on the other side. Even if I'm feeling that emotion, I'll deny it because how dare you call it out? Oh, no, I'm not feeling like that. What gave you the feeling I'm feeling like that? And I'll start taking your case like anything. Now, supposing that happens, what indications will that give you? All is not well in this relationship. Okay, last bit. If your client is saying over and over again, as I told you before, like I told you earlier, catch yourself before the nth time happens and ask yourself, what am I missing? What did I miss? Did my client say this to me in some other way, which I missed? Because the client might have told this, not the same words, but in some other words. And the client might feel, I already told you this, though I have not used the same words, but I have told you. So if I'm with my client fully, I will be listening that way. So never separate presence from listening. It's very difficult to separate the two. Sometimes it's difficult to figure out, it's a chicken and egg thing. Which comes first, presence or listening? I have not been able to answer that question. So it's okay. Both cyclical. Sometimes this is cause and that is effect. Sometimes that is cause, this is effect. All right. Anything anyone wants to ask? Let me see how much you would.
Questions, guys? Thank you so much, Jael and Rekha. Wonderful. Any quick questions, guys? Because we're already at 9:06, but we started 5 minutes late. So we can take one question. I have a question if nobody has a question, very quickly. But I'm leaving the floor open for anybody else who wants to ask. If not,
I can ask one.
sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I mean, I might take a little time to explain my case. So I'm someone, who's like in a corporate role, been with people role for almost like 24 years now. In my day-to-day life, in my environment, I'm a great listener. I am a very empathetic person. I'm able to coach people in or make them self-aware. And just for your information, I'm not yet a coach. I'm in my ACC path. And but when I have to follow that in my with the competencies CC3 to CC8, that pressure little overpowers me to behave in a natural manner, which you otherwise is telling Rekha ma'am. So how do I get rid of that pressure? I know it's a very different question, and I'm asking maybe not the right forum or maybe at a different stage, but that impacts my the natural style sometime, wherein you say you have to be natural.
What were all those disclaimers about?
Disclaimers was about that apprehension, uh, that will I be able to explain my question in such a big forum.
Hmm. So I'm going to leave you with a reflection, and it's not for only you, for all others. And JL pointed this out, right? What is it that makes us ask a question and make it so lengthy? And why do we need to follow up a question with another question, almost like explaining the first one? So is there a feeling somewhere which is created long, long back in you? And when I say you, I don't mean you, I mean someone who does this kind of a thing, that I'm not understood. Okay, so just reflect on that, huh? That's all. Now, so what I picked up was, Sanjeev asked me a question, I know what question he has asked, but somewhere I picked up the disclaimers and the roundabout way and the almost apologetic way in which he is asking. That is what I'm saying, focus on the person. You got it? So focus on competencies. What are the competencies? Actually, what are markers? Okay. Now I'll also take a little 2 minutes to explain this. Shweta, is that okay? Okay. Markers are basically behavioral indicators. For whom? For someone who is observing you. Why would someone want to observe you? Because they are assessing you. Or you want to find out if you are demonstrating those behaviors or not. So either it is for self-evaluation, or it is for somebody who's observing to say, yeah, he demonstrated this behavior, he did not demonstrate this, he demonstrated that, and so on. That is the meaning of markers. Okay. And why are they important? They are important because otherwise, how will I know whether some competency is present or not present? Only through behaviors. And that's all it means, Sanjeev. So if you keep the meaning only to that and don't make it mean into something much bigger than this, you'll not focus on it. And trust yourself and the feedback that you have been receiving from different people, right? And also from your clients. If your clients are feeling heard, and if your clients are feeling that you're present with them, if your clients are feeling that you've got them, I'm not going to sit and ask my client, oh, did I demonstrate 6.5, 6.1, 6.2? That's not their job. They feel you were there, you were listening, and you were present. That's enough. And then trust yourself that all of this work which we have been doing with you, where we have been focusing on the markers and behaviors and giving you feedback, if you have been using that feedback to do something with it, it will show up. So take the feedback, absorb it, understand it, and then leave it. It will be there somewhere. Okay.
Noted. I think very helpful.
Thank you so much, Rekha. Jail, anything you would like to add to what Rekha beautifully explained before
What
we
what I observed was a contradiction when Sanjeev says that he is a great listener, and primarily I think the competencies are primarily it's if you are good listener, then 50% is taken care of. To me, you add a presence, listening, everything else falls in place, right? So trust and safety, that's another aspect, right? So that's if you take that out, right? So CC3 to CC8, then what is where is the disconnect? I mean, that's what I'm thinking, right? So it should be a lot more easier to follow the competencies, the framework, rather than feeling the discomfort. That's what I'm observing from what you said.
I think that's because JL, there's a tendency to take each one separately and examine myself. Am I following this? Am I following that? So here is what, except for CC3 and CC8, which is a process to be followed, the rest are all competencies which are enabling competencies. Okay. So for awareness to happen, there has to be presence, there has to be listening, For awareness to happen, there has to be trust. Unless awareness happens, there won't be actions. Awareness will not happen and movement will not happen unless goal is set. And that's all there is to it. Yeah. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you so much, Rekha and Jel. I
My
think
quick
this
sense,
conversation needs re-listening to over and over again. Subhash is also here.
my quick 1 cent. You see, you can't coach from a space of reluctance, fear, doubt. I mean, you have done your third recording. Now, ekdam bindas. Let go any inhibition that is holding you back at various levels. Yeah. And since you have finished your third recording, right? Because now that freedom will give you a very different experience of coaching.
Yeah, right. No regrets.
Thanks, Rekha. Thanks, Jail. Great, great end of the session. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone.
Thanks
Thank
to all
you.
others for joining. Yeah, and
We take a quick picture.
yeah.
Right. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3.
Just face forward.
1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Great
Bye. Good night,
learning.
everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Night.
Rekha.